Stella Langston, soon to be Stella Anderson, was getting ready for her wedding day. Her dress was a beautiful silk white, and her brown hair was pulled back into a bun. She was all ready to walk out into the church when she realized she forgot something her shoes. She had bought a pair of red, glittery high heels especially for her wedding day, and now she was so excited to wear them. Opening the box, she found not her high heels, but a pair of black men's shoes. Oh no, she thought. Bobby must have my shoes. She threw on her robe and stepped into her pink bunny slippers, which she had brought to lounge in, not get married in. She ran through the halls of the church basement looking for Bobby's room. Finally, she found his room and knocked on the door. Nobody answered. Groaning, she turned back around and raced back through the hallways of the basement into her room. Once inside, she realized that the ceremony was supposed to start within the next 5 minutes. She raced around the room, looking for anywhere else the shoes may be. Finally, she gave up and headed up the stairs to the main floor. Her father was waiting on the landing and looked at her worriedly. You should probably come see this, he said to her. She peeked around the corner, heard the music start, and saw her soon to be husband walking down the aisle in her shoes. Her maroon red heels were on Bobby's feet. She turned back to her father and glared at him. You let him walk down the aisle with those on, and nobody told me? She asked, unable to contain her smile. We just thought that he was allowed to wear them. We thought the color was a bit off, but we all know that he's not the tallest, and thought you two had agreed on this so he could be as tall as you, her father hissed, smiling at her. Plus, we're letting you walk down the aisle in those, he laughed, pointing at the pink bunny ears that peeked out from under her dress. She shook her head in disbelief as her father took her arm. They walked down the aisles, and her eyes filled with tears as her father gave her hand to Bobby. She wasn't used to looking up at him. In fact, his height of 5'3" compared to her 5'7" made it impossible. But he was finally as tall as she was. Maybe a bit taller, especially since he was wearing a top hat. She smiled at him and whispered, If you wanted to be a little taller, I would have been happy to take you heel shopping. He blushed and smiled at her. Really? He asked hopefully. No, she hissed, smacking his arm playfully. They both turned to face the altar, and the rest of the ceremony went off without a hitch. When they got to the back of the church, Bobby was panting. Just let me sit for a sec, he begged as he crossed his legs, obviously suffering the price of beauty. Do you want these shoes back? He asked her as he stood up. After you've been wearing them for an hour? No way. She smiled at him, and they walked out of the church.